You want to introduce, tell us what's going on. We got Joanfrances coming up in the main, and then in the Playroom and the Healers Network. You want to tell us what's going on?
Yes, so hello everybody. Well, next up is our beautiful Joanfrances, and if you want to go with Laurel to her room, you feel free to move, and if you want to stay, Joanfrances will start with us. She is an amazing psychic and reader. She is from across the land, across the pond. She's an amazing hypnotherapist, past life surrogacy rebel expert, psychic consultant. She's a medium, and she's an intuitive who can grace us with her gifts. And we also have in the fun room, we are going to have
Raphael.
Raphael, but my chat just went blank, beautiful. We have Raphael who is going to explain about the...
He channels the energy, he channels angels.
Okay, so
he's an energy channel, but he also sells shungite. Just letting you know, shungite is just one of his products, but he's a channel.
Okay, so fun room, Raphael with his channeling with the angels and the shungite, and I'm going to pass the baton to Miss Joanfrances.
But however, I want everyone to know that in room number 2, if you want to go have a psychic healing reading or service, go check into room number 2, and they're willing to help book you, because we have different healers and readers all over the place. They're in all the rooms right now. We don't want you to break into the room because they're in session, so we want you to have an appointment. They all offer 5 minutes for free, or they have a special offer. All you have to do is hover your mouse down into the bottom of your screen, go to the 3 dots or the 4 squares. So it says more, or the 4 squares says breakout. Click on that and you'll lift on your screen and you can see what's going on and hit the word join. So what we do is suggest you hit number 1, which is the Playroom experience. Number 2 is the Healing Network, which is you do all the bookings. I don't suggest you go into anyone's rooms because they're probably in session. There's a lot of people in session right now, and I don't think you want to break into the middle of their session. So if you can just go into room number 1, number 2, if you need some help, go into number 5. We'll put in the chat exactly what you need, and we're here to support you. Vicky, the Zoom engineer, is in room number 4, and any volunteers has the V in front of their name for volunteer, and we can help move you. So anybody who's here for the first time, I welcome you. Thank you for being part of this event. If you're just joining us from Facebook, it must come in order to experience the breakout sessions. Just like coming into my house, come into the bedroom, come into the backyard, let's come play. We got a lot more going on for the next 6 hours. We got door prizes, we got lectures, we got activations, meditations, elevations. We got psychic healings, readings, and I'm saying this free. It's free for the psychic healings, readings. All they want you to do is come into the room, experience what they have to offer. And if you want to go deeper, then that's up to you. If you want to pay for it now or later. These guys are offering some great sessions at a reduced price. We also got vendors. We got shungite. We got red laser beam therapies. We got crystals. We got all kinds of amazing things. It's like, guys, you know, I know it's cold wherever you may be right now, and I'm sorry if you're freezing. It's 80-something degrees here in South Florida, but we still can't leave. We still can't congregate. So this is our way to get together. So if you're listening anywhere in the world, let us know where you're from. I'm really curious to see how far our reach is, and to know how important this is for you, that I do what I do, because this is my mission in life, to bring you affordable holistic healthcare and mental health services, because we're all in this together. We all got to get through this. We all got to support each other. And I bring to you people that are going to help you get through this. Okay, you know, we might feel lost, we may feel confused, we may feel stuck, but we have the answers and we're here for you. Give us a chance and you're going to feel better. I promise you, I wouldn't be doing this. You know, I've sacrificed my life. This is my calling. So I'm here for you. I'm one of you. I'm a hero. I'm a healer, a reader, intuitive, a channel. And I support everybody that's here in my room because I endorse and support what they do. They all have to go through my process. I just don't let anybody come into my event. So thank you for being part of my event. If you like what I do, please You know, we love your support. It is free. We accept your donations. bit.ly/love donations is my PayPal. Go to PayPal, kaplansherry@gmail.com. Thank you so much. We've still got many more hours to go. So guys, I hope you're all staying warm, and we're going to give you some inspiration, because coming up next in this room, we have Miss Joanfrances. Are you ready to go? And we have Raphael in the back room, in the playroom. So talking to the angels in the playroom, and Miss Joanfrances, effects of past life syndrome. Are you here?
Hey.
All right.
Hello. Can you hear me
Hello.
okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so today I have to say thank you to Sherry, because she has got this amazing platform, as she's just said, and it is awesome. So do spend the whole day here and tell all your friends to come along too. So my talk today is going to be like a little mini therapy, because I want to talk about the vibration of the effects, I should say, of past life syndrome. So you do want to maybe have a pen and paper next to you, so that you can jot down some information for your good self. Okay. As I say, it's going to be like a little mini session, and it means that you're going to do your own analysis in this moment to actually assess whether you're living a life of truth or whether you are living a life of deception. So let me begin. Okay. So life may be a one-way ticket from birth to death, but does it really mean that life is a one-stop experience? For me today, I believe that some of us are living a life of deception due to the shadows of the past life energetic entanglements that cause disruptive patterns in our present day. So because of that, it means that, you know, where does it begin? So do we know, do you know? So you want to write this down. Do you know where one life begins and the other life ends? Or are past and present lives still entangled in this moment? Because that's really what I believe. And what do we need to do? Do we hold the key in this life to our past life incarnations? Is our past life incarnations fact or fiction? Are they present in our present day, or are they in the past completely? In other words, don't affect us in this life. You know, as human beings, we need evidence, don't we? We have to have that evidential energy of where can we see something, you know, or is it the fact, can we touch something? Is it the fact that, you know, is it the fact that we have in our brain needs to process or accept something? So evidence is really something that we need, and evidential evidence at that. It's not sometimes just a case of someone telling you something and you believe it. Most people need the evidence so that they can make their own mind up. So only through our own experience then can we come to a conclusion. And therefore, you know, we must examine our own life. So when we examine our own life, we then have to look at the 3 powers of karma. You know, we're bound by the karmic law of our soul, or what our soul emanates. So when we look at the purpose of our soul's journey, it is a reflection, in a sense, of the negative or misplaced or positive karma, which is essential for our soul to survive. So positive karma, negative karma, or what I term as misplaced karma. Do you know your soul? Do you know what your soul is trying to attract due to the karmic energies that you are emanating? The fact that you are actually emanating these energies right now. So positive karma, we all know, don't we? We know that it's the continuous, victorious actions that promotes soul enlightenment. The negative karmic energies is where the effects due to all the non-victorious actions that you may have done in your life or past lives. But as I have written in my book, a whole chapter on the power of misplaced karma, that this is something that you take on willingly, but more often don't even understand why you have done it. Sometimes you don't even know, you unwillingly take it on board. So by that in itself brings around what I term as past life syndrome. So past life syndrome, and this is where you're going to have this connection with yourself right now. And I want you to think about the things that I'm going to say over the next few minutes. And I want you to write them down for yourself, because that's the evidence that you actually need to allow yourself to understand deeper. So past life syndrome is a set of negative conditions or symptoms that enables you to identify your personal evidence. That is where your past karmic imprints, which need to be addressed in this life due to your soul survival. So when we look at that, we say, well, how do we recognize them? These are things that you are attracting and or reacting to. So we unlock the mysteries then of our past lives by learning the reactions or what we are attracting and reacting to people, animal, plants, geographical positioning in the world, genetic association, or trauma effects. And sometimes situations that occur around us, even on a daily basis. So when we're looking at this, we have to break it down. We have to look at the kind of a fragments of everything that's going on. So one of the ways I have said, and I've just listed a few things for you so that you can quickly do this today, because I know we don't have a long time, but we do have enough time, and that's the important factor. So harmful relationships. So the first thing you want to head there is harmful relationships. Do you have harmful relationships? What are those relationships? What are they harming? Is it self? Is it other people? Is it connecting to animals? Is it connecting to plants? Is it food associated? Is it the geographical location of even where you live, even where your property sits on? Is it that the environmental energy is infecting you in this particular space and time? Or is it the world and situations in life? You know, we talk about the pandemic, but there are so many other things that's going on in our life apart from this pandemic that is actually causing us more distress even in today. So these harmful relationships, are they to do with you? Did you instruct them, or are they being put upon you? So we're going to look at another, because we're going to come back to them all. So what about disruptive energetic imprints? So this is the part of where, is it ailments? So is it partly to do with the body function? Is it historical? So in other words, you've inherited ailments. Is it scarring on the body? Have you got some form of scarring through operations or through an accident? Did you have birthmarks? Is the body marked in some way? Is it the fact, is it trauma, defects, you know, so you've had an accident and now that trauma has imprinted into the body? Are you pain and phantom pain? So do you have real pain, or have you been to doctors and doctors have said, we can't find anything wrong with you, and therefore it's phantom pain, they call it. But yet you're plagued with it every day. So let's have another title, and that's creative. So is it the creative inability of sexual expression? So can you express yourself sexually, or can't you? Or do you overexpress your sexual behavior? What part of the understanding of the sexual energies comes into effect for you in this life? Are you attracting it too much, or are you reacting to it too much? And then another title is, in a sense, depressing thoughts. I sometimes call it low thought rather than use the word depress, but it is depression, as in depressive thoughts. Does it enable you to have emotional outbursts? Do you get angry? Do you get sad often? Is your thoughts depressing? Is it the fact that you're misunderstood, or often you move that low thought moves you into the space of fear? And if it's fear, what do you fear? That should be another title. Have you fears or phobias in this life? Most times fears and phobias are based from something that we don't know. Fear, false evidence appearing real. And therefore it's a case of you might not have an understanding of what you're fearful of. So then we look at, you know, in a sense, the disturbings. Here's another title for you: the disruptive disruptions, I should say, of power to the power of love and to be loved. You know, that's a huge one, you know, because some people say, I'm not loved enough, nobody loves me, or you're fearful of love. So you may say that you're in a relationship, but you can't give yourself completely. So in other words, you draw back. You can only give so much. You don't want to let them in too much to the heart chakra because you're fearful of too much expression of where love, fearful that you might be rejected. And there's another title, rejection. You know, when people feel that they're rejected often by people, yet they do nothing to be rejected for. They say, I don't understand people. Why do they not like me? You know, and most of the time it's actually because of past life syndrome. You are living the falseness, the deception of this life. And then, of course, what about diminished self-confidence, the self-esteem? When people say, I don't understand it, I do all this amazing energetic work, or I do all my meditations and I do everything, but yet I just don't feel worthy. I don't feel, you know, that my confidence is high enough, or I've lost my self-esteem. I'm lost in this world. And of course, that brings around the loss of self-worth. And of course, when we lose our self-worth, we lose all sight of our goals in life. And then, of course, the final one I have on my list for today, I could go on for many, many lists here, but we know that we want to do this today for you. And that is the disruptive creative expression. So in this life, have you lost your creative expression? Or is it the fact that, you know, here we are, you have all this wonderful energy and wonderful knowledge, but you can't get that expression out, whether it's actually to have a conversation even with somebody else, or to do a talk, or to do an address for somewhere else or someone else in the world, or even to write a story. You know, do you have all this wonderful poetry of love inside you, but yet you cannot express it on paper? Where does all this come from? If there is an event in this life that you can actually pin all those traits onto, then you're doing well in this life. But if you're there saying, possibly, maybe not, I don't remember anything, then you're living the life of deception, because you're living something that should really have been finished with in a previous existence. It should have been laid to rest. And I always say these things. If anybody is coming to me for, you know, past life surrogacy, then I'll say, answer these 4 questions. You know, and if it's the fact that one of them is that you go through the same cycle, in other words, the same syndrome comes back up over and over again, and the same situation arises. It could be a different situation with different people, but yet the outcome, the outcome event is still the same. That you are in this space, and dare I use the word, yes, lack. That you are the one that is, that in a sense is suffering in silence, or maybe you're suffering aloud, and that's part of it. Nobody is listening to your suffering. Now you might think, well, why she asked me to write all this down? I believe on that piece of paper in front of you will give you the understanding that if you have written any of these things down, any one, even one, it means that you're living past life syndrome. You are suffering in a sense from it. And part of your life in this life is part of a deception. It's a deception to your conscious living, because you're living something that should have been finished with in a previous existence. So why is it happening? Why do we bring things from a past into the present? Well, we're continuous life. Our life doesn't just stop when we stop. As I started saying, life is not a one-stop shop. So therefore, we are continuous energy. We are everlasting. But what happens is that we take on different forms, the incarnation chamber, where it allows us to have this amazing opportunity to vent our energies of the past, and to understand that if something has gone amiss, and that you have either done a misdeed of negative, or you have taken something on that did not belong to you. And that statement of misplaced karmic energy, this is the moment in life where I have done a lot of work with people of past life through hypnosis, past life through past life surrogacy. And the final moments of death, the life itself is important, but the final moment sometimes for someone is so critical, because that final moment of where they take on board the blame for something that they never asked, or they didn't do, or never even instigated in the first place, but they believe that they were at fault. And that's why in my book, I have called it Misplaced Karma, because the karma sits in limbo in a sense. It's neither a negative nor a positive, because it can't do anything. So it's misplaced. And if you are one of those people, it means that you have to actually bear witness to that particular past life. And I say particular past life, because you could have had many past lives. But because we could go through 100, thousands of lives over our evolution of our soul, but here is this one life that is causing you so much problems from the past. But the reason that we have to bear witness to it is actually because it is important to the soul to release it. And the only way that the soul can release it is incarnation. In other words, in embodiment. You have to be in embodiment to release something that was created in embodiment. It doesn't mean that you have to be the same sex nor the same species, but you have to be embodied to allow the release to take place. Now, that is my own belief. It's a belief that has been given to me many, many years going by, when I was actually taking up my place as the past life surrogate. Now, if you find yourself today that some of the information there that you have got past life syndrome having an impact, an effect on your life today, then there's some of the ways that you can actually work to allow it to alleviate. And that is through hypnosis. You can go and have some hypnotherapy done. You could have a past life surrogacy reveal session done with myself. You could go through meditation, which is a conscious action to release the past life. If you follow me to my room after this, then I will actually take those who come in there through a past life experience to help you to alleviate that for you today. You may even have an opportunity to release your past life syndrome effects through dream state, which is another unconscious action that we can actually take. And sometimes we even dream our past lives, and through that dreaming of our past lives, it actually releases the energy, so because we became aware of it in a conscious state from an unconscious dream. And then, of course, there may have been opportunities where you have gone to a certain place and all of a sudden you think, oh, deja vu, you know, I have been there before. Or you think, oh my gosh, somebody just walked over my grave. I don't know if that's a phrase that we use all around the world, but I certainly know it's one that we use in the United Kingdom. And when you get that shiver up your body and you go, oh, somebody's walked over my grave, then you could be releasing a natural release from a past life. Now, all these methods of investigation, if not release tools, so you may investigate more or you may actually release. But the healing of your past into your present day is so important for really the empowerment of you. So really, you have to ask yourself the question, are you ready to reveal your past life encounters? Or are you going to allow your destiny to stay a mystery, locked in a sense, the entwinement within the events of your past life to your present day? Because at this moment in time, I truly believe that until you truly release all negative or misplaced events from your past life or past lives, then you can never really truly feel totally fulfilled and whole in the form that you're actually in right now. And I know that we can live in many different parallel worlds, parallel existences and everything else. So it's really important that we do everything possible to actually allow ourselves to free tomorrow today. So it's like freeing the soul today to allow ourselves to be fulfilled tomorrow. So I know I only have another 5 minutes or so here on this platform. So I'm going to open it up. And if anybody would like to ask a question at this time, then please unmute yourself and allow your question to be heard.
Or we can move them. We can also move them into your room because you have all night in your room.
This is true.
Yeah, it's true. And at 6 o'clock, in about an hour and a half, she'll be in the fun room to do more readings. But if anybody has any pressing questions right now, just unmute yourself, because people in Facebook land would like to hear, but I'd like to move you into your room so we can stay on schedule as much as possible.
Okay.
Anybody have, go ahead, Roseanne, go ahead.
I have a quick question. Yes. In terms of past lives, if we've had like so many past lives, couldn't there be themes coming from multiple past lives?
Yes, definitely. And that's a good question. So you could have, say, an episode or an event, an occurrence in a past life, and you should have, in a sense, worked on it to relieve the symptoms of that. So in other words, the syndrome of that. But if you don't, and my belief is that if you actually pass out of that life and move into a new life, then those effects come with you. Now, unfortunately, if you go into another life and then don't release it again, then you have two lives now. And I know in my work that I've done with past life surrogacy, I have actually relieved 5 lives is the most lives I've ever done in one session. And that took quite a bit to do. But it was from one life into the next. I call it the domino effect. It's that process of, if you don't clear it in one life, it moves into the next. But what happens is those symptoms that you have multiply, and they become stronger and stronger and stronger. The more lives you go through without clearing it, the evidence of the energy becomes more apparent. And that's why people say, I don't understand this. Why does this always keep happening? And if you're asking yourself that question, why does this always keep happening to me? Then stop, really pay attention and do yourself the biggest favor and really start to explore, into your past life experiences. And normally by answering those few questions that I've said there, if the evidence is stacking up, then it means that you've had either one or more lives in connection. And some of the effects, I'll just say very, very briefly, is that, there's a girl in this world, okay, I can't say names, but there's a girl in this world, and she has complete deformity of her shoulders. Now, when I met her, she had a heavy coat on, beehive scarf, which was bulged out to here, so I could never see her true structure. And I'd done a past life surrogacy reveal on her, and it revealed that her and her mother was in a concentration camp, and unfortunately, they went through some very horrific stuff. And the daughter her arms were dislocated from her shoulders. And what happened is that at the very latter moment of the mother and daughter's life together, her daughter leaned down to her, which was a girl, and she told her mother to put her arms around her neck, and her mother said no, because she knew she was in so much pain. And she says, please put your arms around me, because you're going to be trampled to death. So she did, and they came up together for that fight. The daughter lifted her up basically by the strength of her body, to the two of them were together in this face-to-face moment where they had this most amazing one moment of life where they loved one another so much. But that life ended, and I'm telling you a very, very long story, very briefly. But in this life, that girl was born with a deformity in both her shoulders. One was very slanted like this, and the other had a deformity in it. And she looked at me and she said, you have just told me the reason why I am like this. And she took her scarf off and her coat off, and I was stunned to see her manner. And she said, but you have just told me something that no doctor or no other person in the world could help me with. I kept saying, why me? Why have I got this? Why did I have to carry this in this life? She says, well, you have just told me that is because of the love of a mother in a past life. So her energy at the final moment of that life, her mother died before her, just a few minutes before her. But in those few minutes, the daughter took on board that it was all her fault. Her mother's death, her death, and all the other people around her, that it was her fault because she couldn't run fast enough. Because as a child, they were caught, they were trying to escape and they were caught. And because she couldn't run fast enough, they were recaptured. So she took on board the death of all those people. And it wasn't her fault at all. Circumstances within life at that time of the era, that's what happened. But in this life now, she doesn't have that same imprint of a thought, why me? She now can live life fully in an understanding that it was an act of love. And that's sometimes the past life surrogacy for me is one of the most, for me, it's the most important one, because my energies were altered. And I was told that I had this ability and I had to take up my rightful passage. So my energy matches the other person and I relive the past lives for them. But for me, it's the most amazing thing when you can have that moment of seeing the freedom of energy that occurs, not just for that person, but for everyone who was involved in the past life. Everyone, right, even down to the perpetrators, are given forgiveness and everyone's energy is freed. It's the most amazing experience. I hope that answers your question, or tries to answer your question.
I think so.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So any other questions, or is it
No,
time to
no,
move?
no, not now. We're
We're moving.
moving along. We're going to move you into your own room, which is number 14. Follow her.